to Jim Silberman, Random House. Silberman had asked Thompson whether Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas was journalism or fiction. June 1971, Woody Creek, Colorado. Dear Jim, under normal circumstances, it should never be necessary for a writer to explain how his work should be read. In theory, all literature and even journalism should be taken on its own intrinsic merits, above and beyond, or even below, the confusing contexts of whatever reality surrounded the act of writing. This was the keystone of the New Criticism, a now discredited school of elitist/academic criticism that flourished in the 1950s and largely accounted for the massive loss of interest in all forms of fiction writing by the end of the 1960s, or at least all forms of fiction except what some managed to peddle as new journalism. This is a term that Tom Wolfe has been trying to explain on the lecture stump for more than 5 years. And the reason he's never been able to properly define the new journalism is that it never actually existed, except maybe in the minds of people with a vested personal interest in the old journalism, editors, professors, and book reviewers who refused to understand that some of the best of the country's young writers no longer recognized the line between fiction and journalism. Where the senile strictures of the new criticism made traditional fiction irrelevant, the hopeless stagnancy of traditional journalism, the Hearst/Hecht mentality, made it impossible for anybody who took himself seriously as a writer to work for a newspaper or even a magazine. In 1960, the pinnacle of journalism was an editor's slot at Time Inc., and the pinnacle of fiction was selling tone poems about the bird baths of your doomed youth to The New Yorker. The choice was pretty grim. You could either get involved in reality and be a rewrite hack for Time, or you could hunker down with your intensely private memories and be a star in the cocktail/fiction circuit. But either way, you were fucked, particularly if you were 20 years old and inclined to take the real world seriously. There was simply no room, no way to make a living in that twilight of the Eisenhower era for anybody who might want to bring a writer's fine eye and perspective to the mundane realities of journalism.